There.
Hi there.
It is Wednesday, and Work Life Consulting team is here to talk about another interesting topic that's on people's minds. How do we know? Because we hear from people all the time of what are they struggling with. So we'll be with you in just 1 minute. And that's our dear friend Elliot Lewis, who wrote that music and it just is so timely because we are in this together. Whatever this is, whatever it looks like.
Post-pandemic, pre-COVID, post-COVID, post-pandemic.
Well, it requires this, which is what we're going to be talking about today. It requires that we acquire a rehearsal mindset for organizational success. And we are Dave and Laura Butler. Welcome to those of you who are live, and welcome to those of you who may be listening on a replay. And we have been doing this for a number of years. We've been seeing a whole lot of changes and over the years that are, with the times or not. But we provide customized online coaching programs, either virtually or accessible online, but a lot of times we do go, when things are allowed again, on site. And we work with individuals, teams, and leaders to help them achieve greater fulfillment in their work and their lives. And we tailor our services to fit the needs of all of our clients. And we like it when people bring up what they need. And Dave, why don't you, because your background was specifically in the theater. What does this mean when we think about rehearsal mindset for organizational success?
Well, I think it's the thing that occurs to me is the story of what Laurence Olivier said to Dustin Hoffman when they were working together on Marathon Man and talking about acting. And Olivier told Dustin Hoffman that the most important thing is you have to allow yourself to be bad. Meaning you got to get out there and try different ways and try different things. That's what rehearsal is all about. People think rehearsal means I've got the perfect way to do it. Now I go in and I rehearse doing it perfectly. Really, the rehearsal process is one where you go in and you try this, you try that, a little of this, I saved this worked, this didn't. Let's try this, let's rewrite that. The constant improvisational process going on. And I think that that's what's happening in today's world. Leaders need to be able to have a rehearsal mindset. Rather than going into every meeting, going into whatever situation they have with trying to be perfect, we have to go in and say, you know what, we're all learning here. We're going to try this. We're going to try it this way. If it's not perfect, that's okay. Take it easy. If anything, what we want to do is be able to celebrate the little wins of little failures. Because if we fail little ways and we learn from it, we won't fail in big ways. And I think the adaptation to getting ready for what's going on is that everything that's happening requires that kind of rehearsal mindset.
And mindset, we've been picking up on the mindset theme over the past couple of weeks because we feel it's so important because mindset will make or break anything. And we hear all the time, well, I've got to spend time with the ROI. Well, we like to look at it, as you say, as the return on intangibles versus the return on the investment.
Yeah.
And the mindset of the leader and after the switch or the change or the rehearsal strategy of the leader, then that affects the teams and the overall organizational results.
Right. It includes creating a culture of safety, which we've discussed before. Like for actors to go in and have the rehearsal, it needs to be safe. You can't be in there rehearsing and feel like somebody's picking on you or looking for something that's wrong or judging you or anything else. In order for that creativity to happen, we have to be safe, number one. Secondly, we need to be able to loosen up our mindset a little bit rather than thinking it's got to be this or it's got to be that. How do we rehearsal mindset, meaning how do we open ourselves up to some new ways of thinking? And in the past couple of weeks, we've also referred to things like paradigms. Well, paradigms are a product of mindset. One of the greatest books ever written on this is Future Edge by Joel Barker. In the late 1980s, early 1991, he wrote this book about paradigms, it's still true today, even more so.
Yeah. Well, it also requires, we've said this before, that this mindset shift requires more than one way of looking at it. It's not,
It has to. It has
it's
to.
not one size fits all. It's not one way of direction. We were talking today with some colleagues at lunch about a potential new program on cross-functional leadership. And to me, that's one of the most impactful situations and looking at a leadership lens that we can think of. Because if we look at here's where I'm at, and then if I'm working with another group, then I can step out of the lane I'm in and learn something from that other group of colleagues. So it's all continuous learning and growth and development, but it requires more than one perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are those mindsets? What mindsets do we need to cultivate? What gives us a future focus? How can we have our conversation with our own futures, let alone the future that's coming at us?
Well, we wrote today on our broadcast announcement is, make it comfortable to be uncomfortable
Right.
In the future work conversations, because some of these situations are totally unknown. Most of them are unknown.
And stay effective and stay engaged while you're uncomfortable.
Right. And don't minimize, don't ridicule people because they have a different point of view. It may not be the point of view that works in the moment, but it could be something that works down the road.
Well, we've said several times, I think it's more important to be curious than to judge people. Right. Why does that happen? Why did this happen? How can we do better? All those kind of questions the curiosity opens us up to being able to see things differently.
Well, one of our favorite videos is the Adaptable Mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what we wrote about again in this broadcast is the link, you can find it on Google. It's just Adaptable Mind, which is put out by a very interesting organization called letitripple.org.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is fabulous in terms of thinking about that mindset, because what we all do, what we say and do has ripple effects everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But this video we share a lot with our clients, our colleagues, because what is your favorite?
Well, the part of it that I think is most important is the story of a woman who's tried to have a creative idea to try and help with the Ebola crisis in Africa, and what she has to go through to get that idea, which is fairly simple, how to get that idea implemented. But in the course of doing that, what they really point out is, where are we in the evolution of mankind here? We started agrarian culture. We went to the industrial age. We've been in the knowledge economy for a while. Now we're in what they call the human economy. And you see it all around us. The pandemic has really brought it into focus. It's all about people. If you don't have the people to do the work, you can't get the job done. So how do we incorporate different points of view? How do we help people to feel safe? How do we build better bonds, better relationships? All those things have become more important in some ways. Now, it's always going to be important to make a profit with what you're doing, but in some ways they become more important than they ever have been before, because everything we do every day involves other people.
What I think is really interesting too, and what we've been reading a lot about, is the technology edge now, pushing organizations and people within these organizations to become more proficient in technology. And it requires even, looking at human resources from an artificial intelligence lens, because there are certain things that don't have to be done by people. However, as this video points out, there are 5 qualities that machines don't have. And when we come to the point where machines can acquire these qualities, then we'll be having a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But
nobody sees it happen.
At this point, they are not able to do this. So it's why this video is so important, and why this conversation for focused on the future conversations, is so important, because here are these qualities. And if I don't think a machine can do this.
No,
Machine,
not new creativity. It can regurgitate other creativity that's a person has done. But I've yet to see a robot or a machine itself come up with something that out of nowhere, so to speak. Secondly, is that curiosity I was just talking about. Now, machines can be curious, I suppose, if you want to say that they're looking for something, but that's not really what curious is. Curious is asking questions and following up and finding new ways to look at the things that you're curious about. Taking initiative, very important. Machines have an on-off switch. Humans don't. They decide themselves that they're going to take an initiative or do something about it. Multidisciplinary thinking, maybe a simple way of saying that is we need, as well as multitasking, we need multi-asking. We need to be able to get other people's points of view and integrate them with our own. And finally, the big E, the empathy. I don't know if they'll ever have artificial intelligence or a robot that can be empathic or have empathetic feelings towards somebody else. It's only going to be programmed.
What we have been seeing and what we've been talking about is that machines can learn as they go. They have the ability, robots have the ability to assimilate patterns.
AI, artificial intelligence, is to learn and get better as they go. Learn from their own mistakes.
So I think that we can help humans get better at learning as they go, kind of looking at the same way of thinking.
Yeah, but much different mindset. The mindset has always been go to school, get the degree, be the smart one, be the one with the answers.
Well, the other thing we mentioned in our broadcast today is the speed of change that's affecting current work makes new skills obsolete before they're fully developed. So if we're waiting for that book to come out on the new way of doing something, by the time you get it, it's going to be outdated.
Right. With the exception of something like Joel Barker's book, it's like it's still relevant.
Yeah. So our work for you is to take this video, watch it, share it, debrief it, spread it around with your colleagues and your organizations, and dive into what the takeaways are.
I think, as I remember, there actually is a downloadable, like a pamphlet with it or something that has like a study guide.
There is.
Yes. Very interesting.
Yeah.
It makes for great conversations for a team.
They've done great work with that. And when you've done that, let us know and schedule on our website or, through our Facebook page or YouTube page. You can schedule a 30-minute discovery call. And what we're inviting people to do is to schedule a time where we can help you set up your rehearsal mindset. Get a rehearsal strategy in place that can help you think differently. And again, if you're watching this in the recording or if you're watching it live, leave a comment and says, boy, which one of those 5 attributes or qualities would you like to work on?
And I suggest trying to remember Laurence Olivier's advice. It's to make it okay to be bad. That way you'll learn and you'll be able to be better.
The other thing about Laurence Olivier is he had unbelievable stage fright.
Stage fright, that's right. Yeah, he was being interviewed by a French journalist about what his greatest challenge was, and he said stage fright. And the journalist said, "Well, I'm not talking about back in the beginning. I'm talking about now." And he said, "Stage fright." Ready to go on stage, but it's hard in today's world. I mean, you're on the computer comes on. I'm on stage. Everybody's on stage all day.
Yeah. So that's hence the rehearsal mindset. So thank you for listening. We'll be here next week, and send along any questions, leave comments. We'll be happy to address. Thanks for watching.